Okay, Hare Krishna. Welcome to Bhaktivedanta Academy's Prospective Family Open House. This is an annual event that we hold for families that are interested in admissions for the coming school year. And we're happy to have you here with us. We thank you for taking the time to join us today. Our presentation should be anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the number of questions that we have at the end. I'm joined today with our lead teachers who head up the various programs of our school to give you an opportunity to hear about our entire program. And me, Vishnubar, I'm the head of school here at Bhaktivedanta Academy. I'm joined by Vrindavaneshwari, who heads up our pre-K kindergarten program, Satyaki, who heads up elementary, and Jayashri Radhe, who heads up our middle years program. And so together we're going to do our best to give you a general overview of the school and what you would expect as a parent or what you could expect for your child as a student here at Bhaktivedanta Academy. If you do have questions over the course of the presentation, you're welcome to post them into the chat box, and then we'll do our best to answer those at the end of the presentation tonight. So a little bit about the history of our school. Bhaktivedanta Academy itself is a long-running educational institution. For those of you that are familiar with the Alatra community, it's been here for quite some years, and education has always been a foundational aspect of this community in particular. And over the years, there's been various educational programs available to families here. Bhaktivedanta Academy specifically has been part of the Alatra community since the 90s. And more specifically, Bhaktivedanta Academy itself was founded in 1998. And it was really founded with the purpose of creating a holistic educational program for children. And we initially started with essentially a one-room schoolhouse kind of situation here many years ago. Our initial class had 16 students, and we're all the way up to 135 today. And now we span all the way from pre-K all the way into high school. And we've grown this school over many, many years with a very dedicated team of teachers. The teachers that are here at Bhaktivedanta Academy are certified for the various levels that they teach. Uh, Many of our teachers have been with us for well over 10 to 15 years. And we have a strong team of 25 staff that serve the students at our school. All are Krishna conscious practitioners and are very committed to the experience your child has here at Bhaktivedanta Academy. And so looking at our program as a whole, in terms of what it is and what it's based upon. And it's really based upon what we saw as Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, presented as a vision for what a Krishna conscious educational experience should look like. And this quote really embodies a lot of what we try to do here at Bhaktivedanta Academy. And if I will, I'll read it out here for us a little bit if it's a little hard to see on the screen. If children are given practical guidance on the transcendental platform above the bodily and mental conception of life, then they will develop into perfect citizens, moral, honest, hardworking, law-abiding, clean, faithful to home and country, like that. That is the unmatched success of our Krishna conscious schooling system. So from what you can see here, Srila Prabhupada had a very holistic view of education. It wasn't purely spiritual, but Krishna consciousness was a foundational aspect of it. And so we see us not only being able to support our students in their academics, their spiritual progress, but also who they are as people. And that development is a very important part of what a child's educational experience here is at Bhaktivedanta Academy. Further, this translates into our vision of our school, where we look to educate our students in Krishna conscious principles and practice in strong partnership with family and community. We believe very strongly that this is a team approach, not only for us here at school, but also with you at home. And we work to foster these relationships for the growth of our students throughout the entire time they're here with us. And with the aim of pursuing academic excellence through the utilization of the Montessori teaching methodology, with the main purpose of developing self-disciplined, confident leaders who are prepared to serve Krishna, the community, and the world with integrity. So this is what we're going towards. And this is everything that we do here at Bhaktivedanta Academy serves this purpose. And as I said, we really do have very much a holistic approach to education. We really look at education as the academic development of a child. Obviously, we want to prepare our students for whatever it is that they choose to pursue in life. We want to make sure they're well prepared for anything that might be, along with that spiritual foundation that they grow within the school in, but within an environment that supports their social, emotional development as people. And this really is what sets Bhaktivedanta Academy apart from any other educational institutions. And then if we look at the specifics of what that spiritual approach looks like, a very significant part of what spiritual practice to us means is that it's never forced. We believe that Krishna consciousness, our spiritual development comes from the heart. And we have a responsibility to foster that in a way that which students would look back on their education here at Bhaktivedanta Academy and look at the spiritual aspect of the program in a very positive way. So that's done by only offering age-appropriate spiritual practices, and also by participation in events outside of the school as well, along with a foundation in scripture, knowing important verses, participating in songs and stories, particularly at the younger levels. And then as they move up through our program and they come into our middle years program, a very strong foundation in Sanskrit as a secondary language that they learn with us. And then how we bring this together. So when we look at the Montessori methodology, Montessori itself is a holistic methodology that also holds a very strong place for the spiritual development of the child and also the spiritual practice of the teacher. And to us, this is really a perfect pairing because we're able to bring Krishna consciousness together with the Montessori methodology to really create an incredible learning experience for our children here at school. And so to get into a little bit of what the Montessori methodology is, I have a short video to show you that goes into more specifics as far as what is Montessori in a real way, hearing from other parents who have had their children in Montessori schools, and just giving you a full sense of what truly means to have a child in a Montessori school. So just give me one sec. I'll transfer us over to that video.
By choosing the Montessori path, you take a path that encourages learning, makes learning fun.
For us, it's been undeniably a great choice and a great fit.
I was looking for an extension of home, and it was like a second home to my child.
We applied to a whole bunch of schools when we were looking for preschool for our daughter.
I think I went to about 20 different schools in the area.
And when we walked into the Montessori classroom, it was just a whole different world.
It's a community, it's a family.
And it struck us as an environment that would help cultivate some independence. At the same time, it's also very nurturing.
I think that all children have an innate sense of wonder and curiosity. But I think that Montessori encourages and expands upon that.
The teacher's presence instills a reasonable degree of order where it needs to be, but is not a sort of a single point of information.
And all children are different. They have a different outlook. They have a different spirit. Montessori caters to those differences.
The communal learning environment encourages collaboration and diffuses negative competitiveness.
Students develop leadership skills, find their own voice in a way.
Every kid is going to learn how to add 2 plus 2. The traditional schools don't have that social component to it.
It's an amazing feeling to see her go off to school every day, smiling and happy, and knowing that she's doing what she loves.
Montessori system has a way of guiding a child through pushing boundaries.
They're being successful in middle schools and high schools. I think a lot of that has to do with the foundation that they learned in their Montessori school.
Montessori gave them a foundation for all of their academic achievement.
His teachers there were very nurturing in terms of helping kids develop their curiosity.
Seeing the love of learning that our child has developed is really important and amazing.
Kids learn best when they're happy, and my children are so happy.
He came up to me one day and said, "Mommy, you know, you're my mom at home. But you know, my teachers are like mommies to me in the school." He sees me in them, and that's just wonderful to me.
It addresses the deep desire that's within all children to learn.
We as parents were given ideas on how to feed that curiosity.
It's not just your child's school, it's your school. We're part of the school too.
Montessori made my kids able to follow through with what they set their minds to.
I would say Montessori is life preparation.
So that's just a basic overview of the Montessori methodology in a very small nutshell. And but we feel this is important to understand because it's so foundational to who we are as a school. And so we hope that overview gives you some understanding of it, but you'll definitely get much more in-depth understanding of what it is and what it is in practice with us. When you actually come to observe in the school and see it truly in practice as far as how we do it here in Bhaktivedanta Academy. One sec, I'll just get us back into our presentation. And so when we look at the years beyond elementary, and so when we look at pre-K all the way through elementary, Montessori is a foundational methodology that we use at those levels. And as students transition up to middle school and high school, they come into the IB Middle Years program. So International Baccalaureate is an international standard of education that really pairs very nicely with the foundation that's been established for our students at the lower level, and has the ability to truly prepare them for what's coming beyond their years here at Bhaktivedanta Academy. And so we really feel it's a great transition for our students to go into to middle school, high school, and for us, middle school starts 7th grade, and then continuing up into 10th grade, where they graduate from us, and then from there transition to generally mostly transition to dual enrollment. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So this is a small video that's an overview of the International Baccalaureate Middle Years program, the particular program that we have here at Bhaktivedanta Academy, and that we're authorized to have by IB. So this will be a short video to give you an overview of IB, and then we'll come back into the presentation.
first impressions of the MYP were, wow, this isn't a traditional setting. This is a creative framework that allows students to engage with one another, engage with the teacher.
MYP allows the teacher to be more of a facilitator. And that I like. I like being able to go around, seeing the kids work together, helping themselves, helping each other.
Really focuses on the person as an individual thinker, individual learner, and somebody that is creating their own pathway. I love being able to nurture their individual strengths. And that's what the MYP does. I don't want the students to just think that science is science and art is art. And that's something that the MYP really nurtures. It nurtures that cross-collaboration.
So one of the main ideas for MYP is we emphasize the holistic learning. So we're not looking into how long the essay they can produce, but we're actually assessing their understanding and analyzing skills.
The way we learn is different because we understand what we're learning, we don't memorize it.
Porque se focaliza mucho en el proceso. Lo importante es el proceso de creación, el proceso de construcción, el proceso de adquisición de conocimiento. Además, se les hace siempre al final de los proyectos una reflexión.
Our students are exposed to different parts of the world. Our students are then more globally aware and more prepared for the real world.
The internationalism, the capacity to understand others, to put yourself in others' shoes and see different perspectives, something which is so crucial.
And the knowledge that we are hopefully not only giving them the academic skills that they need, but really the life skills to be able to build on, to be able to take with them.
En gros, à l'école, on apprend à travailler en groupe, à organiser, et du coup, ça nous aidera pour notre futur. On pourra travailler avec des personnes qu'on n'aime pas forcément, mais ensuite, on pourra faire des grandes choses et améliorer le monde.
And then we have the assessments that are used around the world that really put the stamp on the rigorous instruction.
They're going out with a sensitivity as to their role in the world.
And the MYP provided them with some of the most valuable tools.
And so just like the prior video, this gives you an overview of the IB program, but we'll learn more about what it looks like specifically with us when we get into our presentation specifically about the Krishna Sharana Middle Years program here at Bhaktivedanta Academy. So just 1 second, I'll get us back into the presentation. Okay, and so this gives you a general overview of what Bhaktivedanta Academy is from a high level view in terms of our history, in terms of what our particular program is, in terms of the methodology that we practice and we're rooted in as a school. Now we're going to talk a little more specifically about the different the application of that at various grade levels. And so today we're going to start with our pre-K program, our pre-K kindergarten. And you'll notice something here as we go through is that each of our classes are actually mixed age. And this is by design. In a Montessori school, it's part of what we establish as our classroom environments are intentionally mixed age environments for our students. And so when we talk pre-K, we also take we're presenting pre-K and kindergarten. The children at this level are from anywhere from 3 to 6 years of age, and that is what the students in this program will be. Then we move on to elementary, and it breaks down accordingly. We'll get into that as we go. But I first want to welcome Vrinda. Vrinda's been teaching with us for almost 18 years at this point. She now heads our pre-K program that we recently expanded into 2 classrooms. And she's going to take a little time to speak with us today about what our program looks like in our Bhaktivedanta, our pre-K kindergarten program.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So I'm a little biased, but I do believe our school is a very warm and wonderful place for children to begin their educational journey and to spend many years. So a few words about our early learning age group. This is actually has a very unique nature. Birth to age 6 is a special, unparalleled time in a young child's life. They are forming the foundation of their very selves, and their minds and bodies are growing at such a rapid rate. They go through so many sensitive periods or heightened capacities for learning and developing skills. So as Vishwambar mentioned, we have 2 primary classrooms, and at our school, our classrooms, they all have names. We like to give it that personal touch. And so one class is named Radha Bhakti Bhavan, and the other is Krishna Bhakti Bhavan. And that's loosely translated to the place of loving devotion under Radha and Krishna, the original divine protectors. And this is where we have our 3 to 6 year old children. So our methodology, the Montessori system, as you've been being introduced to here, it's a developmentally based approach. It's multisensory. And in that, we provide many rich experiences for children to develop whole language, number sensing concepts, along with science, geography, history, art, and music. Yeah, all that for the 3, 4, 5, and 6 year old is actually quite amazing. And we meet the child where he or she is in all areas of their learning and growth. And so we're looking at the physical growth of your child, the emotional, spiritual, academic, and relational. And that's the whole picture, the whole child. And children, they have a natural, innate desire to learn, and providing them with the right environment geared for their development and interests, alongside teachers specifically educated and trained to really understand and support them. This sets up a really lovely arena for them naturally to follow their inner guidance and flourish. And children love to learn through our beautiful hands-on learning materials. And as you saw, just like a little sneak peek in the video we watched, and when you come into our classrooms and view them, they're really gorgeous place filled with many variety of learning materials and plants, and each class has their own set of deities. It's a lovely place to spend your day. And so the children, they move through our curriculum at their own pace, and the teachers, they act as facilitators or guides, supporting the individual child through their own learning journey. Another thing of note that I wanted to mention is our program is relationship and community based. And this is actually one of my personal favorite things ever, is to get to know each child for this special and unique person who they are, and get to form strong bonds with them from which they feel safe and secure. Because that's really the basis of what we're providing. We see that is that safety, that security, really feeling at home with the adults in their environment. And from there, they're able to just settle and go about their day and learning. We place an emphasis on developing a positive and peaceful community in our classroom. It's a very intentional thing. And this is actually an optimal time for them to learn all the ins and outs of socialization. They learn how to form friendships, how to resolve conflicts, how to grow in their own self and emotional awareness. They learn important character qualities such as empathy, kindness, helpfulness, respect, and leadership. And this multi-age grouping is designed with this in mind. So it provides a sweet family-like setting where kids can help and learn from one another. It really reinforces their learning by having kids that are younger and older as a group, like all together. Another important aspect is the component of partnering with you as parents. it is really important for us to form a partnership with you to serve your child the best. You know your children the best, and we hope to earn your trust and become a part of your family. These years, we know they come with some big changes as parents, especially for speaking specifically to this age group. There can be a lot of uncertainty and concerns about how is my child going to handle all these big transitions? They're so young. And I just want to let you know that we're here to help you each step of the way. And we provide many ongoing opportunities for parent education, enrichment, and connection with our program and support you throughout the years. Last but not least is the spiritual foundations of our program. So we are a Krishna conscious program, and we follow the flow and rhythm of the spiritual calendar as our thematic guide to learn about Krishna, his appearance, his incarnations, and pastimes. So what does this look like for kids ages 3 to 6 is that they learn through songs and stories and drama. And then we aim to weave Krishna consciousness throughout the various areas of our curriculum, like music and art and so much more. And throughout it all, every day, providing a foundational grounding of practical experience of Vaishnav culture, how we interact with and learn to be with one another in our daily lives together at school. So it's a daily thing. It's not just a discrete thing. Oh, now we're going to do our spiritual time, though we also have like a spiritual circle time, and every day is that, but it's woven in throughout prayers, prashadam prayers, and, vanchakalpa prayers of respect at our morning greeting time, chanting the mantra together, serving the deities. So it's very joyful for them. So at the heart, our essential goal is to give children a joyful Krishna conscious early learning experience that produces cared for and competent students who are really equipped with the beginning knowledge of how to learn and ultimately ignite the sparks of a love of learning. And this, in turn, it builds self-confident adults who want to make a difference and contribute towards their world. So I wanted to end with 2 quotes, one from Dr. Maria Montessori, and she said that the child is both a hope and a promise for mankind. And by our spiritual teacher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, if you train a child in taking shelter of Krishna, then that will become the nature of the child. So we really see this as such an important service and work, and we have an amazing team of teachers in the early learning program throughout the school who are all really dedicated to this service. It's like it's not just a job, it's a service, and it's very heart-centered for the adults that are here with your children. Thank you very much.
All right, Vrindavneshwari, thank you. And thank you for the wonderful overview of the Bhaktivedanta program. One thing I just want to add to this is that we can say a lot of things about what these classrooms look like, but nothing replaces actually coming and being able to see it firsthand. And when you come into this classroom, you're going to see this vibrant educational environment. And one thing that sets us apart from, say, maybe what would be traditional daycare at this level is that we are an educational program starting at 3 years of age. So children coming into our school as 3-year-olds are not just coming for daycare. They're actually coming to start their educational journey. And Vrinda and her team in Bhaktivedanta do an incredible job fostering that development. And as Vrinda said, not only fostering the development of your children, but helping our parents, many of whom this is their first experience, their child entering school, to make this really big transition in life. And we have many years of experiences supporting families through that. And she is exceptionally good at working with families, working with that are new to all of this, and bringing them into the fold here at Bhaktivedanta Academy. And part of that is what we see in terms of families that not only have a very positive early experience with us, but because of that, continue to stay with us all the way through graduation, to where many of the students that we have with us today originally started with us in Bhaktivedanta as 3-year-olds. So we're going to move on now to the next class, the next level in our school, which is elementary. I'd like to introduce Satyaki. She's been with us for about 18 years as well. And she's developed a wonderful, wonderful program. And we're going to get an opportunity a little bit here, get to hear from her a little bit in terms of what that program looks like at the elementary level. And so when we move to elementary, we're talking first grade. And Adare Bhavan, which is the class that she teaches in, is 1st through 3rd grade, and then we'll speak a little bit about upper elementary, which is 9th through which is 4th through 6th grade, or 9 to 12 years of age.
Thank you very much for the nice introduction. I am Satyaki. I'm the lead teacher in Adare Bhavan. Like Vishwambar said, it's like I have the 1st grade to 3rd grade students. Our classroom is just a wonderful environment where our students, they can explore it freely and move freely and explore the many hands-on materials that we have. We give lessons in mathematics, language, history, geography, science, and many of our studies overlap. For example, this past few weeks, we've been currently studying North America, and specifically the United States. So naturally, we're studying also in art, and art history is the famous folk artist, Nellie Mae Rowe. The children are just very enthusiastic about learning about her and learning how to do artwork that she has so famously presented to the world. We also yearly get a chance to display our artwork at the City Hall, and the students who submit their artwork get a personal recognition from our mayor. Another one of our goals in our classroom is to teach the students about spiritual and Vaishnava etiquette. We do this through many varieties of activities, such as learning Bhagavad Gita, kirtan, learning verses from Bhagavad Gita, artik, japa, plays, and we have lots of temple attendance. We are fortunate in our classroom that we have several music teachers who instruct our students in playing musical instruments and engaging them in bhajans daily. We usually end our day with a kirtan, so the children go home very enlivened spiritually. I'm just really happy to later on answer any of the questions that you might have, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Satyaki, thank you very much. And as Satyaki said, this is the development of our program through elementary really continues this this approach of looking at learning from different aspects and bringing it into the class in various ways that really provides a very whole experience for our students. And Satyaki's done an incredible job with that. And if you get the opportunity to visit and observe, you can see that firsthand. I'm going to speak a little bit about our upper elementary program. And so like in terms of the progression of our school, so we look at elementary as a program as a whole, divided in lower and then in upper elementary. So upper elementary, as I stated, is 4th through 6th grade. But we're also looking at transitioning students up into middle school and high school. And so a lot of this much of this transition happens at within the upper elementary program. And our school is called Madhurya Bhavan. And so Madhurya Bhavan carries a lot of what comes over from lower elementary, but with the added advantage of our students, because they're older, they have this increased ability of agency. They have much more self-determination. And so we're able to harness that. And so students at this level have a lot more that they bring into the classroom in terms of the direction that the classroom goes, in terms of how it operates. And we also get to spend more time outside of the classroom, out into the world, exploring things on various field trips and different activities that take them outside of just the confines of the classroom itself. And so one of the ways in which we do this is that we really create an environment that has a structure and a framework that allows students to explore interest, allows them to take on responsibility, and to really utilize that towards some determination in terms of what occurs in the class environment. So one small example of that with us is that we have what's called community meeting. And so students in upper elementary will meet several times a week. It is completely student-led. We have facilitators, we have an agenda keeper, we have timekeeper. They're responsible for the running of this meeting. Students present agenda items, they're discussed, they're deliberated, and then from that come different concepts or ideas, or also just maybe even just changes in the classroom. Students could present something that maybe has been a challenge in the class, and together we'll troubleshoot and come up with solutions for that. So that's just one way in which they have that autonomy to direct the direction of their classroom. And then we look at the classroom as a whole in terms of the various responsibilities within the classroom that students take on. So they'll take on responsibilities within student government. And then they'll also look at what are their impacts going to be outside of the classroom, and they'll take on various initiatives for that as well. And then all of this is, like I said, is working towards preparation towards moving into our middle years program. And so as our students get closer to that, in 6th grade in particular, they'll start actually having some classes in the middle years program, particularly in math. And then they'll start to get a feel of what the middle years program is going to be and what that experience is going to be, so that we can shift them over into that, so that they can more seamlessly transition into middle school and high school. And so together, students are getting this very strong experience from pre-K through 6 years of elementary, and then they move into our middle years program, which is kind of our finishing stage, 4 years of preparation for what they decide to carry forth out of Bhaktivedanta Academy. And so to speak a little bit more about that and what our middle years program is, I'd like to invite Jaishree Radhe to speak with us for a little bit. Jaishree Radhe has been with us for 11 years. She's had many, many years of experience working with adolescents, even outside of Bhaktivedanta Academy. And she brings that understanding of this very unique age into this program. And she has a dedicated team of teachers that work with her in terms of working with these students and getting them where they need to be for life beyond Bhaktivedanta Academy. So I'd like to present Jaishree Radhe.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, everyone. Like Vishma Prabhu said, I'm Jaishree Radhe, and I lead the middle years program called Krishna Sharanam, meaning that Krishna is our ultimate shelter. Our class is for 7th to 10th grade, and I do partner with 5 other teachers in our program, which are subject area specialists. So as was mentioned, our classroom extends the Montessori methodology into the International Baccalaureate's middle years program. And we do this in 8 different subject areas. So math, sciences, literature, social studies, physical and health education, the arts, which include musical, visual, and performing arts, a separate class called design, and language acquisition, which is Sanskrit. And these 8 subjects form the core of our academic curriculum. No subject is considered more important than the rest, and they're all part of that ultimate holistic approach to education. We focus a lot on the personal development of the middle years child. A hallmark of this age is that they are social newborns, really focused on connection and belonging, often with their peers, and are exploring their sense of justice and are looking for heroes. These middle years are filled with a lot of brain development, similar to what Mother Brinda was saying about the preschool age. And it is a little chaotic, to be honest. But what our classroom tries to do is create really strong systems and structures with loving support so that they can go through these changes as painlessly as possible. This is done through developing leadership, scholarship, and service. Our rigorous academics are taught through real-life application, meaningful reflection on the learning process, all within a Shastric context. In terms of our spiritual program, as Vishwambar Prabhu mentioned, in Krishna Sharanam, we're looking at how to apply the Shastra to the students' real world experience. For example, in our 7th and 8th grade, we're exploring the modes of nature, what their effect is on them, and how they can rise above them. In 9th and 10th grade, we're looking at the stages of moral development, the development of faith, and especially focusing on where they currently are in their teenage years and how to continue to develop strong faith as they mature. Besides our Shastra class, which happens once a week, we teach skills such as deity worship, leading kirtans, playing instruments, organizing festivals, temple worship, and a Gaur Pranim extravaganza to celebrate our Panchatattva deities. But at the heart of everything we do is personalism. And by the end of the students' experience at Bhaktivedanta Academy, when they leave us after 10th grade, we are striving for them to grow into these self-disciplined, confident leaders who are prepared for a life of service to Krishna, the community, the world, and with integrity. So Bhaktivedanta Academy is a one-stop shop from pre-K to 10th grade. And as you can see, every single program is focused on that personal connection with the student and helping them develop their personal relationship with Krishna. Thank you.
Jai Shirati, thank you very much. And I was appreciating what you're saying about the concept of relationship, because the thing is that a hallmark of Bhaktivedanta Academy is these deep relationships that we form with our students and families over the years. Because students have the ability to join us from a very early age, we get to know them very well over the years. And this knowledge is passed down from class to class to class. And we get the great honor of being part of this process for them, to where we have students who graduate from us, that at graduation we can all remember when they were 3-year-olds with us, and those memories that we carry from there. And then now we see these formed adults in front of us who are ready to take on the next stage of life. And it's really an incredible experience for us. And it's truly an honor to be able to be witness to that. And what Jai Shirati and her team are able to do in Krishna Sharanam is incredible in terms of the preparation that students have to go on from Bhaktivedanta Academy. And we'll talk a little bit about the outcomes and things like that in a second. But really foundationally is that we're able to see firsthand how our students are doing out in the world once they leave us, now that we've had many graduating classes from here. And it's just incredible to see. It's incredible to see what contributions they are making in the world and the directions that they're taking in their lives. And so in terms of just the educational program, we heard about the various programs. We're looking at kind of what is it to be here at Bhaktivedanta Academy. And so a lot of that revolves around a schedule. So when we look at the basic schedule or cadence of a school year, we have a traditional school schedule here. School starts in August, it goes until June. We're Monday through Friday. We start at 8 a.m., go to 3 p.m. for our elementary and middle year students, 2 p.m. for our pre-K students. Our 3-year-olds stay with us partial day, so they leave us at noon. And then we have the traditional break schedules that you would have in a traditional school schedule. So winter break in December, January, a fall break in November, and then a spring break in March, April. And so that's the general cadence of what a student's year would look like here at the school at Bhaktivedanta Academy. And then when we talk about the program as a whole, we talk about students joining us at 3 years of age, developing through the program, and the preparation in which we're trying to set up so that they can be successful in in whatever direction they choose to go. We like to look at the data. And so we do assess. We assess our students' academic readiness at various levels, and this is presented here in these charts in terms of math, and then the next chart will be reading, to where you could see that a vast majority of our students are very high performing from an academic standpoint, and same in reading. And again, this isn't the sole focus of what we're trying to do, but it can give you assurance that although we are a holistic program, we're a program that isn't purely academic, that the results bear fruit in terms of the students' actual abilities and their capabilities from an academic standpoint. And then what does that lead to? So our students that come out of Bhaktivedanta Academy, like I mentioned, we've graduated many classes at this stage, and we're seeing our students move on to other things. And so one path that is most common for our students, they leave us in 10th grade. And the reason why we end at 10th grade is that in our area here in Florida, there's a very robust dual enrollment program. And so this is a partnership with Santa Fe College, which offers dual enrollment, which gives students the opportunity to earn college credit in the final years of high school. So in 11th and 12th grade, students don't go to a traditional high school campus. They actually go to the college campus. They take college level classes. They earn college credits. At the same time, they're fulfilling the remainder of their high school requirements. And for the majority of our families, this is a preferred path for their children because not only are they accumulating college credits, but it's all completely free. It's provided by the state, and it really gives them a solid preparation and foundation for them to move on to undergrad studies if that's what they choose to do. And we've had many students that are either in the midst of their undergrad studies or recently graduated and have really had a really nice transitionary path to that. And so then when we look at the school as a whole in terms of what we have is that we're offering a holistic educational approach that's individualized to the student because of these strong relationships we have with them and their families, with proven outcomes, in an environment with teachers that are professionals and are highly committed to really create this nurturing space in which our students can learn to grow in various ways. And like Jay Shirade said, I like the term one-stop shop, where we can start in pre-K all the way a path to college through dual enrollment. And so this is a basic overview of what the educational program is. We'll have an opportunity to answer some questions specific to it when we get to the end of this presentation. But I wanted to just take a moment to talk a little bit about the admissions process. And so part of what we try to do here is we're trying to create an opportunity for you as parents to evaluate a very important decision, where you want to send your child to school. And in many cases, the first place you'll ever send your child to school. And we know this is a really important decision for you. And so we have a multi-step admissions process that starts with an online application. There's a very extensive questionnaire that's part of that application. So we get to know your child. We get to know what your interests are, what you're looking for them, and then allowing us to have an opportunity to see if what we offer here at Bhaktivedanta Academy matches up with what you want for your child. An important part of that process is to actually evaluate the school in person. Being able to actually visit the school, to take a campus tour, to observe in the classroom that your child would be entering is the next step in that process. Along with that, some of this it's listed linearly, but some of it goes on simultaneously. We're evaluating requested information. For students in first grade and above, we will take the opportunity to assess in reading and math to ensure that the grade level that they've applied for is an appropriate match for where they're at. And then we'll evaluate all of that. We'll come together, we'll meet with you, and to discuss what you're looking for, and to be able to answer maybe more specific questions about your particular child or anything else that you're wondering about after you've kind of gone through this process. And then once we do all of that, then we will send out enrollment status notifications. If you receive an acceptance to the school, you would then be presented with a tuition agreement. Once you complete the tuition agreement, then your child's space is secured here at the school for the coming school year. The schedule in which this happens is is based on a start date and in February as far as taking applications, and our intention is to always give decisions in April of this year for families, so particularly for families that are considering moving here from out of state. We'd like to give you that information as quickly as possible so you can make plans for being able to relocate if that's what your position is, to have to move here for your child to attend. And so, but it is a multi-step process. It does take a little time. And we do highly suggest that you make a visit and a classroom observation as part of that, so that you can get a true sense of what your child's experience would be here. And then in terms of the criteria for admissions, so we look at classroom space availability. As I mentioned earlier, one of the hallmarks of our school is that we have a high level of retention of students once they join us. And so once a family has made the decision to enroll their child here and they're here, they tend to stay. So because of that, that does limit the number of spaces we have in our school in any given year. Re-enrollments will ultimately determine how much space is available at various levels. The one place I can say that space is always available is for our 3-year-olds. Granted, we may not have space for every 3-year-old that applies, but it is your best chance of having your child join Bhaktivedanta Academy at that stage of their life, because our 3-year-old age group then moves up through the school. They tend to occupy the spaces that come after them. And so if you're a family that's kind of on the fence right now, not sure whether pre-K is a good starting point for you, the one thing I would say is that in terms of the ability to join the school later on, it does get harder just because we're more limited in terms of space we have available. But if your child is 3 years of age, this is the perfect time to consider applying for the school. So we'll look at classroom space availability. If you've applied in the past, so you've been waitlisted, those students will get priority over new admissions applications. If a family has a sibling, a child that's already in the school, they will get priority in terms of admissions. Then we look at how we structure our classrooms. We try to have a balance of age and genders within each classroom environment. And then the final thing that we'll look at, if it comes to that, is that when was the application submitted? Excuse me. If the application was submitted early on in the process and somebody was able to complete the admissions process before someone else, then we'll take that into consideration. But it isn't always the definite determining factor. But these are just a few things that kind of give you a sense of what makes it possible for a child to join us here at the school. In terms of where to start, you would start on our website. Our admissions process our application process is completely online. You would go to our school website, which is bhaktischools.org/admissions. If you go there now, you won't be able to apply yet. So don't submit an application at this point. But very soon, you will have the opportunity to apply, and it all starts online. In terms of the dates of that process, we anticipate online applications becoming available on February 1st. And then, as I mentioned earlier, with the intention of giving you an admissions decision by April. If your child does happen to be waitlisted, then that's an ongoing wait list that we maintain. And if space becomes available, then we go to that wait list and we invite families to join us if space becomes available after our initial admissions decisions. In terms of tuition, our tuition rates are, we try to strike a balance of having a quality educational program. Excuse me for that. A quality educational program that is accessible to families. And so we do intentionally keep our tuition as low as we can. But we also have the benefit of providing many ways in which families can receive subsidy for their tuition for their child to attend. But this is our basic tuition scale for this coming school year. And this is how it lays out from pre-K all the way through our middle years program. In terms of financial support, we have various financial aid programs that you could take advantage of. From the Florida's voluntary pre-K program. Also the tax credit scholarship, which is eligible for families in K through 12. And then we have other programs that you can investigate to see if they might work for you. Information on financial aid is again on our website. If you go to bhaktischool.org/financial aid, you'll see all these various programs listed out with links to apply to them if they seem like they're a match for your particular need. Same thing with financial aid, just like admissions. If you do intend to apply for an in-school tuition grant, we do require that you have an application already in process with us at the school before you apply for that. And what the in-school tuition grants are, that's in-school financial aid for families. Although I must say that your first place and the place where you're going to get the most financial aid is going to be from the state scholarship program, which is administered by Step Up for Students. If your child is entering kindergarten, then this is the first place we would recommend going to apply, because the subsidy for tuition is pretty significant. As of this year, that subsidy was close to $7,500 per child, which is a significant amount of money. And the qualification for that has continued to expand over the years to we're seeing now that the majority of families that apply are actually being approved for that particular scholarship. If that's not an option for you, if your child's 4 years of age, they'll be eligible to apply for the VPK program, the voluntary pre-kindergarten subsidy, which goes to every child in the state who's 4 years of age at the time of admissions to the school. And right now, I believe that is somewhere around $2,800 a year that could be applied towards your child's tuition. So with that, that was the last of the specific presentation items we have here. I'd like to open it up to questions, and we'll do our best to answer them.
Hare Krishna, everyone. My name is Suchitra. I'm the staff assistant at Bhaktivedanta Academy, and I'm going to go through your questions here. Thank you, everyone who posted questions in the chat. And I see some of these questions may have been answered in the chat already, but for the benefit of those who may be watching the recording later on, I'll just go ahead and read these out, and to make sure everyone's question is answered directly and specifically. Okay, the first question we have from Arthur is, are we able to observe a class in person while in session?
Absolutely, and we encourage it. As we said in that admissions process, it's an important part of admissions. We want you to spend time in the classroom and see firsthand what it's like, because you're the best judge of what you want for your child. And so we really feel that observation is the best way to get a feel for that.
Okay, the next question from James is, at what grades do the kids start studying Sanskrit?
So Sanskrit is formally taught in the middle years and high school program, because it's a specific subject. It's a credit earning course that the students participate in, but they're exposed to Sanskrit from pre-K onward, and then when they come into the middle years program, they learn it as a specific discipline.
Okay, is the Montessori approach used for all the grade levels at Bhaktivedanta Academy?
No, it starts in pre-K, goes all the way through upper elementary, which is 6th grade, and then they transition to the IB middle years program. But one thing I'd like to say is that the reason why we opted to utilize IB for middle years is because we feel it pairs very well with a student who's already had a Montessori educational experience. As we saw in the video and as Daishri Radhe spoke about, IB's approach to education is different than what traditional education is as well. And it's really it de-emphasizes the concept of rote learning, and it is really centered on the concept of applied learning, applying knowledge to different different things, and being able to assess a child's understanding in various ways. And so we find that it pairs very nicely for our students who have had an experience throughout the school, and as their further preparation for years beyond with us.
Okay, the next question from Praveen is, what kind of help is provided if the kids excel at some kind of sports such as soccer, tennis, or cricket?
Being a smaller private school, we don't have athletic programs per se here. Students do participate in physical education. They at the elementary level, and then as they go into Krishna Sharnam and in the middle years high school program, they have physical education at least 2 days a week. So they get a lot of exposure in that regard. In terms of a student's specific athletic interest, there's various leagues that are within our area that students can participate in. Additionally, we have students in middle school and high school that are able to join those specific schools' athletic programs. And so we have students that are in basketball and soccer at the middle school and high school level that are students here, but they participate in those schools' high school and middle school teams.
Okay, next question from Irina. How many classes of Sanskrit per week do the kids get?
Jai Shirade, I'll let you answer that one.
There's 2 Sanskrit classes a week specifically dedicated to Sanskrit. But there's a morning program every morning. And there's a Shastra class, an additional Shastra class once a week.
Okay, what other classes, activities besides Sanskrit are offered pertaining to spiritual development?
I think as we discussed through the presentation is that we have discrete spiritually focused classes or particular experiences that we make available to students, but really, like, we look at an environment that is spiritually infused in a sense. And so a child's experience from a spiritual perspective here really covers the entire gamut of their experience here. And so depending on the age of the child, those experiences will be different, but they're coming into classroom environments that are spiritually centered. So a great example of that is every classroom actually has a presiding set of deities for that classroom. The students are responsible for their care. They're the center of activity in the classrooms. And so when we come together in the mornings, we're coming together in front of the presiding deities of the class. We're having kirtan, we're offering prayers. Much of our activity is centered towards them. And then depending on the grade level, what their responsibility for the care of those deities is going to vary, all the way up to Krishna Sharnam that every year puts on entire festivals that the school participates in. And then from a spiritual standpoint, we look at a progression of learning. So in pre-K, students are starting to get exposure to different key verses, maybe from Bhagavad Gita. And then when we go into lower elementary, they'll start a more systematic study of Bhagavad Gita for the 3 years that they're at that level. Then when we move up into the upper elementary program, they'll start a study of Srimad Bhagavatam over 3 years. And then when they come into Krishna Sharanam, it's more applied Shastra. It's looking at all of these spiritual concepts, all these these things that we've learned over the years, but how do we practically apply it in our lives? But also within an environment that supports questioning, because it's very important at that age that students who are wondering about things can feel free to ask questions about things that maybe they're unsure about. And I can say that Jaishu Rade in the particular program she has at Krishna Sharanam really creates a safe environment for students to have those questions and be able to discuss things. And I don't know, Jaishu Rade, you want to say anything more about that? But I think it's an important aspect of what a child's experience spiritually is in Krishna Sharanam.
Yeah, I would just add that as we were talking about the development of our spiritual program, Mother Brenda talked about joyfully performed, that everything we're doing in Christian consciousness is to be joyful. And so they've moved through Bhaktivedanta Academy. And when they come into Krishna Sharanam, sometimes they're not as joyful as they used to be. They're going through some transitions of age. And there's a dichotomy of what's happening. One is that they want to belong. So the lower grades, like the 7th and 8th grade, the sense of belonging is like, we are devotees of Krishna. We are, like, there's a we. And so we facilitate that by helping them really understand the why of everything about the we. Why do we do the things we do in the temple room? Why does that happen? And then that helps with, okay, I understand why, and I understand the purpose of it. And then when we get into 9th and 10th grade, it becomes why for me? Like, why should I do this for me? Like, what's my connection? And it all it becomes about personalism. It's that inner journey of like the soul with Krishna and reconnecting, and everything we do from our morning program to, you know, when we say our pranams to the devotees of Archakalpas, we recognize an actual person who we want to offer the pranams to each day, and why we respect that person and why we want to do it. So it becomes, it's very personal about their development and them, and it's also personal about their relationship with Krishna and the relationship with other devotees and the acharyas, and all within the context of trying to understand the why. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know if Satyaki or Vrinda, you have anything else you want to share in regard to the spiritual aspect of the program? Okay.
Oh,
all right. So
sorry, I think Satyaki was talking, but she was muted.
Oh, okay, I'm muted. Did you want to go first, Brenda, or no?
Go ahead. I'll go
Okay.
through.
In our classroom, like it was told before, that we all have our personal set of deities. We worship Gaur Nitai and Lord Nrsingadev, and through the daily activities, we're offering food, we're offering flowers, we're offering so many of these wonderful things to them, and it goes through the whole day. The children, you'll see, they'll pick up their japa beads and they'll sit and they'll chant in front of the deities. And we're so especially lucky this year that we have a very skilled bhajan teacher, mridanga teacher, kirtan leader. So that teacher really keeps us enlivened all day. And like we mentioned before, at the end of the day, we end it with a wonderful kirtan. So it's just a very happy classroom spiritually. And before we get to Krishna Sharanam, but it's just a wonderful way. They're just, and it just creates a nice foundation for the children to develop friendships and to understand what it means to be a friend. It's just a wonderful environment.
For the Bhakti Bhavan students, we have beautiful altars in both of the classes. Lord Jagannath is in both of the classes. There's large Gaur Nitai in one of the classes as well. And for kids, like when we talk about development, so for these children, it's very simple. They're right there. They accept Krishna and caring for Krishna and singing about Krishna just so naturally and joyfully. And it's amazing, actually, how much they can learn through story and song and immersion. And then you see that in their play. They like to act out whatever pastimes on the playground that we're talking about and focusing on. They'll color pictures of Krishna. They'll have some artwork. So it's really just on all parts of our environment. We have little different works on, like, if you could see, like even in the picture that's on the screen, there's all these shelves with different materials on trays that the children then take off and they interact with. And so we've had for a while now in one of the classes this T-lock work, so they can learn how to put T-lock on. There's T-lock and a little Ochman, a water cup, and a mirror. Of course, it looks like, pretty smeared all over, but they just love it. And so they get to practice and explore and experience, but it's very simple for them. I think we have it easy as far as that. It's just that joy is right there. So it's in all parts, but a lot of play, a lot of song, a lot of story. Yeah, those are some comments I have.
Okay, moving on to the next question from Taylor. Is Sanskrit offered in the youngest class, since that's when language development is prime?
I think, like we answered previously on the other Sanskrit question, not as a discrete subject, but the exposure is there. But in terms of the specific study, it's in the middle years program.
Okay, it was also asked, who's the lead teacher for grades 4 to 6 at the moment?
I am at this stage, and so I'm leading the upper elementary class this year in Bhaktivedanta Academy.
Next question from James: are there any drama programs or devotional plays that the kids can be involved in?
Absolutely. When we look at our spiritual program, one of the aspects of it is being able to reenact the different pastimes or different stories, and that comes through in drama. In terms of major production, the school itself typically puts on one significant production per year as an entire school. For example, coming up towards the end of this year, we have a production on the life of Srila Prabhupada called The Messenger that we're preparing for and we'll be having. In addition to that, in the middle years program, performing arts is one of the subject areas in which students are part of one of the main classes within the arts. And Jai Shri Radhe could speak a little bit on that to give you a little bit of an understanding of what drama looks like there.
Yeah, so it's one of the branches of the arts program. All students participate in it, and besides doing smaller productions for that class, we do a class-wide musical or play each year. So 2 years ago, we did The Sound of Music. Last year, we did The Tales of Mark Twain, which was a play. This year, we're looking at The Wizard of Oz. So we connect students in major productions across grade levels, 7th to 10th grade, yearly.
Okay, next question from Praveen. We are from Chicago and my son is in 5th grade. Is admission in 6th grade permitted? If yes, how easy or difficult can it be for a child to transition into a new method of education? What is the strategy which is followed by the Academy for a smooth transition?
It's hard to say from an admission standpoint at this stage what our availability for 6th grade will be in the coming year. I would encourage you to apply. We do look at every application individually, but then we also look at the makeup of the class and see what the capacity of the class is in terms of the numbers of students that are re-enrolling, students are coming up from a previous class up into a new class. In terms of transition, we find that students are pretty adaptable. And we haven't really seen much of an issue with students being able to adapt to a new class environment. We are very careful, though, in terms of ensuring that they've had their own experience in the classroom. And so not only would we recommend that you come and observe, we'd also would recommend that your child shadow in the class, that they spend a day with us, get an experience of what it's like to be a student here. They'll be paired with another student who'll be kind of their shadow buddy for the day. They'll acquaint them with the classroom. They'll get that full experience, and they'll be able to say kind of what that experience is like for them. But it really hasn't been our experience so much that children have an issue with the transition. The few areas we'd look at from the academic standpoint to make sure there's an appropriate match for the grade level that they're joining. And then just look at an overall evaluation. We also do look at what we're hearing from the school they're in terms of maybe particular traits or qualities that we could then find matches for within our classroom, or maybe other students that share similarly, so that when they do join us, that they have some social connection when they come into the class.
Okay, there's a couple of questions following also asking regarding enrollment availability for specific grades for kindergarten and grade 5. I believe you touched on Vishwambar Prabhu. Next question then is, can we visit the school anytime, or is it by invitation based on the shortlisting of the candidates?
So the way that it typically runs is that we would want you to have an application with us before scheduling your observation visit. We do tend to get a lot of applications, and so we're going to prioritize those visits and application and observations to families that already have applications with us, just because there's only so many slots over the course of a school day or a school week or month that we can allocate for observation. And so the first step would be to apply. If you're just more curious and you just want to get a general sense of the school, you'd be welcome to schedule a school visit. We would take you on a tour of the school, and then after that, if you decided you want to apply, then you could formally do an observation in a classroom. But that's generally what it would look like. But we would ask you to check in with us first. Visits, observations are all scheduled in advance.
Next question is from Navni. Hare Krishna, I live out of Florida and applied for the school and waiting for your confirmation. When can we apply for Step Up for Students funding? It requires a Florida driver's license, which I don't have currently. So I wanted to understand timings-wise how it works for an out-of-state resident and to get funding when we make a move to Alachua.
You're correct. So the state scholarship program does require that you have residency in the state of Florida before you can apply. Applications for that program typically open in the spring, March, April. It varies every year, so to give you an exact date is hard. What I would recommend is going to the Step Up for Students website, and they have an interest list there that you can submit your information to. And then once they have applications opening up, you would be notified of that. But it's without being a Florida resident, you cannot receive that. So it is a challenge sometimes for families that are moving out of state. What I would say is be prepared for paying tuition at the rates that we have at the school. And then once you're established here in the state, you could apply for the state scholarship. And if you were to receive it, then we would apply that towards tuition, and even refund tuition if the subsidy from the state is more than that you've already paid as far as tuition goes. And we have some families that is sometimes the situation. They'll move here. Their child will be enrolled with us. They'll be paying tuition, and then a month, 2 months, maybe even 3 months down the road, they get notification from Step Up for Students that their child was approved and that they've received a certain amount of money towards their tuition. We'll apply that to whatever is there, and then if it's appropriate, we'd refund a balance to you.
Pankaj asks, I have 3 children. If there is availability for only one child, do the others get priority on a wait list?
Honestly, that's hard to say. Every circumstance is unique, and availability at every class level is just going to vary from year to year. So really, at this particular stage, it would be hard to say. I can say though that if we are in a situation where we're able to accept one child, and then it means that they have siblings that wouldn't potentially be with us, that we would try to see what we can do, but it's never a guarantee, just because it's not always in our control in terms of the numbers of families that opt to re-enroll.
Next question from Praveen. Is bus service provided for the commute from home to school and school to home? Any help guidance provided by the academy management to the families relocating from other state in terms of suggestion per accommodation in the area?
Yeah, we don't offer bus service. We are a smaller private school. Bus service isn't something that we have the capacity to provide. But in terms of families that are considering a move here in order for their children to attend, we can connect you with realtors in the area. Uh, um, uh, we have several realtors that are parents in our school, and are always very happy to help families that are considering a move here, and can give a lot of solid information in terms of where to consider moving to, if the school is a priority, and they can provide a lot of help with that.
Okay, next question from Ed. How are children with artistic skill and tendency encouraged and engaged starting in Bhakti Bhavan?
I think that'd be a good question for Vrinda.
Yes, I think that would be an individual question. So it depends on the child's where they are and what kind of supports they need, and do we have the ability to provide the supports that your child with special needs would be benefited from. So we want to
artistic, not autistic.
Oh,
sorry, I just wanted to clarify.
Thank you. Okay. I thought we were talking special needs, and that was going down that route. Artistic. Okay. Art is a big part of our program. We have a whole set of shelves that always have art materials for the children to use, and we rotate those out to keep it interesting and fresh. We do thematic art projects. So they have that exposure and they have that ability to engage with that. We don't have like specialized art lessons for children who seem, that would probably be a more something the parents do on their own. But as we go through the different age groups, like how Satyaki focuses on, they do a whole different kind of approach to art, and then continue with Krishna Sharanam. Do you want to speak about that, Satyaki, about your art studies?
Sure. Our our program is called Art in Action, and it's really we study one particular artist, and we learn about their history. So it's like history. We learned about it's also learning different art techniques through that artist, and also we learn lots of vocabulary that an artist would use. And also every week we alternate a big art project with sketching. So the children are learning just to, get their sketchbooks and take, in the outside or inside and just sketch. So it's really a nice program, and it keeps the children really enlivened, because art is just really part of them. They just would love to have art projects all day if they could. And we also, when we have science, we really try to equate science with art, because it just seems to go together. Like we've talked about the Geminid meteor showers that were coming. And so the children did this fantastic artwork with their interpretation of what the sky would look like with a meteor shower. We also, the other day, we're working on the different layers of the atmosphere. And it's just so wonderful to see them, how they're taking that, what they learned in science, and putting that to art. So we try to incorporate art in all we do.
Okay, next question. Are there homework assignments?
Depending on the grade level, yes. That's going to vary by grade level, but specifically as students transition into upper elementary, we start to expose them to having regular homework because when they get into the middle years program, those homework assignments are going to ramp up more. And so we start at this level with specific assignments in math and reading that the students are required to do on a weekly basis. And then as they move up through the class into 6th grade, then that'll expand more in preparation for the homework requirements that would be in the middle years program. And Jaishuri, I don't know if you wanted to speak more about that.
Just that the purpose of the homework is to reinforce the skills that were taught in the classroom. And the homework also is a great opportunity for learning time management. And so we're trying to develop a little bit of this like agency, as Vishnu Prabhu talked about earlier, and being able to have some discipline, develop time management skills. And so there is nightly homework in the upper middle years program.
Okay, our next question. Is tilak part of the school uniform for the kids?
We try to strike a balance with our uniforms and honoring what a family's spiritual path is. And so, because although we're a Christian conscious school, we don't require that people who join our school, students who join our school, are necessarily Krishna conscious practitioners or Vaishnavas. And so, as we know, tilak is a mark of a Vaishnava. And so, if in a particular family or with a particular student, maybe there's some question on that, we're not going to require it, but it is encouraged for those that are.
Next question. Why don't we do only Krishna conscious plays?
We feel it's important that students get a broad exposure. And so just as that we don't only read Krishna conscious books, say in literature study, we're reading a wide range of literature. We're studying Srimad Bhagavatam, but we're also reading literature. And we feel it's vitally important that students have a broad exposure to various things throughout the world. And so some of these classic performances, these classic plays, are we feel a very important part of their experience here and their exposure educationally as students. And I don't know, Jai Shirati, you might want to speak on that a little bit, since these productions are a major part of what Krishna Sharanam does.
Yeah, I want to also clarify that there are many productions we do, like we do a Gita shadow puppet show. We do many, reenactments of the Bhagavatam through spoken word. We do many things that are Krishna conscious in nature. But as someone who grew up as a Hare Krishna, feeling like there's this world out there that you don't know anything about, it actually makes it more attractive. And by us giving the students an experience of different varieties of works, as long as they're classical in nature, I find that it allows them to feel that they didn't miss out on something, and they feel proud of their education, that it was very holistic, and it gave them everything else. It also sometimes gives them talking points about high school, talking with other students if they're in sports and things like that. Which is just a way of connecting and building relationships. I do want to make the caveat that all of our productions, we're very thoughtful about what we choose. They're sattvic in nature. We don't choose things that we think send poor messages to students. So we're very intentional about what we do. It's not whimsical.
Next question from Lavanya. Hare Krishna, could you please explain in brief about these groups: language acquisition, language and literature, and design in the middle years program?
Sure. So language acquisition just means the study of a foreign language. For our school, our foreign language of study is Sanskrit. It's paired with Hindi so that students can learn Devanagari script the way Hindi script is. And they learn in a variety of ways. They use Sanskrit Bharati as a platform, as well as just diving deeply into our prayers, our common prayers around pronunciation, things like that. Language and literature just refers to what you would call English class or language arts. They study a variety of texts, like Vishnu Prabhu said, devotional, non-devotional. They did a unit on the 24 gurus from the Bhagavatam, and then they'll study the Scarlet Letter or something like that. So there's lots of different literature that's explored. It's also done through inquiry, like the Socratic seminar, where students are finding contextual, like text citations and trying to prove a point through debate and discussion. And the last one, design. So design is a really unique class to the middle years program. Lots of subject areas can include design. Design can fall into home economics. It can fall into construction. It can fall into graphic design or video editing. But the idea is that whatever the unit of study for design is, it's taking an idea and then bringing it to fruition, and then reflecting on what came about to improve it for the future. So you could think of it like invention, creation, things like that. That's what the course is about.
Okay, so the last question we currently have on the chat here from Andy. Hare Krishna, dear educators, please accept our humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Could you please provide examples of how the love for learning is nurtured in students, especially at the Bhakti Bhavan kindergarten level? How can a parent see practical signs that their child has this love for learning so that we can have reassurance that the Montessori approach is indeed working?
So it's a great question, and I think I'll ask Vrinda if she would answer that for us.
Sure. Thank you for the question. And what comes to mind for me is come into our environment and come and see what it's like. It's actually probably going to blow you away. It's amazing. We have, in the 3 to 6 environment, we have the different areas of the curriculum set up in sequential order on these amazing hands-on learning materials. So there's the math, there's the science, there's the language, and the children receive one-on-one instruction. They get a demonstration, which we call a lesson, and then they can practice that. So if you come during what we call a work period, the children are all going about choosing different things. Maybe they're serving themselves snack, or some are looking at books in the library. Others are doing different kinds of lessons with materials. And they have that agency starts at that very young age. And it's always that concept of teaching for the future. And so what seems like a simple activity that they're doing is actually amazingly designed to set them up and help them learn on so many levels. So it's like they're learning how to make decisions, how to have a cycle of activity, focus, that's a huge one, lengthening their attention span. And so by all these the materials are very attractive, and kids love to interact with them and work with them. And it's almost like, show me one child who doesn't love to learn at this age group. They're very engaged, they're very joyful. And as the educators, we can explain those to you as the parents, is how the child learns. What are those concepts and principles? And we also have parent-teacher conferences. And then that's the time which you would come and meet with the parents, or a video meeting with the teachers. And we talk just about your child. How are they doing with their beginning math? How are they doing with their language? How are they doing with their social emotional? So we're looking at them individually and sharing that information with you. And as Vision Bar mentioned, we also, starting at the VPK level, we do have some assessments we do 3 times a year, just showing that they're making progress. So it's from a number of different levels that you could gain that information.
Okay, Vrinda, thank you. And Suchitra, do we have any other questions?
That was the last question we have on the chat right now.
Okay. All right. Well, we're right at our end time, and I want to thank everyone who took the opportunity to join us today. I want to thank our teachers that took the time to speak about our program overall, and we really do appreciate the time you took with us. We will have a recording of this session available online, so if you want to review anything there, and then if you have additional questions, you're welcome to connect with us at the school office, and we can answer your questions there. Or as we go through the admissions process, we'll definitely have opportunity to answer questions that are maybe individual to your child or anything of that nature. But again, thank you all so much for joining us. We hope to get an opportunity to meet you as you visit Bhaktivedanta Academy, and we're honored that you're even considering to have your children join us. So thank you very much, and Hare Krishna.